and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co., Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
Are you looking to raise money for your community club or charitable organisation? Club Fundraising is an Australian family-run business, and we pride ourselves in creating partnerships with clubs, helping build stronger communities. Our free online platform provides everything you need for a successful campaign. With a step-by-step interface and best-in-class payment options, Club Fundraising makes it easy for clubs and contributors alike. Revolutionise the way you fundraise. Start your free campaign today. Head to clubfundraising.com.au. That's clubfundraising.com.au.
With the right qualification, there's no telling where your career could take you.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moon might be a bit of a stretch, but whether you are looking to progress your existing career, start a new one, rejoin the workforce, or get better at a hobby, training.com.au is here to help. At training.com.au, you can answer a couple of simple questions and instantly find out what courses are available for you. It costs nothing, and it could change your life.
The Eagle has landed.
Find your future right now at training.com.au.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. With great confidence, can you believe it's been a huge week in football? Josh Parrish, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, George.
I notice you're running the gun there, controlling the console, making sure that everything goes out. These pictures, by the way, we are on radio, on streaming radio, which is a fantastic platform, and there's so much more streaming to come. Talking football over the next half a dozen years, but FNR has been doing it for the better part of 4 years. So how come we've got pictures with radio? That's normally called television.
Well, George, it was part of a bit of a brainstorm about 6 months or so into the process here at FNR, and we went, how can we get ahead of the game? How can we bring radio into the 21st century? And we thought,
Pickies.
Yeah, that's it. And honestly, I have to credit a couple of FNR alums, Adriano Del Monte and Rick D'Andrea, for pioneering the FNR live streams.
Well, haven't they done all right for themselves?
Absolutely.
Adriano, of course, in his own right, starring almost every other night at the Euros, which is a story we're going to talk about, of course, over the next hour. But we should all celebrate and prepare ourselves for what promises to be a pretty exciting A-League Grand Final. It's locked in. It's Sunday afternoon, 5:05, 5 minutes past 5 on Fox Sports, which is, of course, Channel 505 if you're struggling. It'll be available on KO. If you're a Telstra customer, you can watch it free and data charges don't apply. I think it's on the MyFootball app. Mm-hmm. And we'd love to be able to call it, maybe in the new generation of rights holders and so on, we could take a leaf out of the old days of the AFL where they used to give their rights to all the stations and they'd go out and customise coverage each and every week. So that you got massive coverage across the board. And I think the game is built to that stage. We shouldn't be, playing at the margins. We should be opening it up, and it's a whole new audience out there, and there are so many opportunities galore. But things to talk about next week, perhaps. I've got to apologise. I was hoping that Chris Niku would join us. There has been a slight change in scheduling. We look like we might get James Johnson next week, and we'll talk about the TV deal, the legacy for the World Cup, which is fast approaching. 2023 is around the corner. But let's talk about what's coming up. We've got a couple of special guests.
We do indeed.
And they're both participants at the grand final, or will most likely be participants. We don't know the final teams as yet. What are you making of this grand final, this A-League grand final?
Well, it's an interesting situation for both teams. Sydney being whisked out of the danger zones to make it here in time. They've been training at Lakeside Stadium today. I know Miloš Ninković fronted the media earlier, and we saw some great pictures from their preparations. And Melbourne City, of course, the headline is the players that they're missing. But the players they do have as replacements really have done the business in the semi-final. And whenever they've been called upon all season, it's been the strength and depth that's been one of City's major qualities. So I think this one is really on a knife edge. I don't think City's absentees ruled them out whatsoever.
Okay. Before we reach out and talk to some of our special guests, and one of them, of course, goes by the name of Glenville. If you want to know a bit more about that, stay with us on FNR. Special guest from Sydney FC, first name Glenville. Let's see how those that know their homework, operate. We've also got Ben Garuccio from Melbourne City. So I want to hear more about what Ben thinks about what's coming up on Sunday. But let's also acknowledge it's been a big week, an awards week for the game. Locally, of course, Ninković and Ulysses Davila, great name, isn't it, from Wellington Phoenix, both joint winners of the Johnny Warren Medal. That's no mean feat. That's a tremendous effort from both of them. Ninković has been a star from the day he arrived in Australia.
It's almost a lifetime achievement award for Miloš Ninković. Thank you for all you've given Sydney over several seasons, because I think ironically, this year I think he's been a little bit below the outstanding level he's usually at, but in past years he's been overlooked when he probably should have won it.
Yeah, so that's very fair.
I think it's fair that he gets another one to hang around his neck after all this time.
Collective efforts of the last half a dozen seasons. Look, he's been remarkable, as has the tremendous player that has done so very well for Perth Glory over the years. A Spaniard and a half, correct. A Spaniard and a half who has shown us that there are a great many skills in the game, and he's displayed most of them whenever he's been in rare form. Unfortunately, this year, a combination of injuries and the season, and they won't be there, which is quite surprising, because they're a side that's been littered with talent, loaded with talent almost.
Certainly attacking talent, Perth. I think they've struggled to accommodate all of the attacking talents in one lineup while retaining balance. I think that's been the primary issue for Richard Garcia, is finding a system that suits all of them. But they were certainly entertaining to watch. And another local coach, another Australian coach learning the job. Also, they're going to have some reversals. But all in all, a promising first season for Richie. I think, again, congratulations to what has been an outstanding season by Wellington Phoenix. Under trying circumstances.
I think their efforts this year to take themselves offshore, to house themselves in Wollongong just south of Sydney, to embrace the Wollongong community by wearing the local colours of the Wolves, that was something. That was really smart stuff. And then, of course, showing how well they've been loved and how many New Zealanders have appreciated their efforts. The minute they went home, 25,000 people for, each week. One was at Wellington, the other was at Auckland. They rocked up to see their team represent them, and they played some wonderful football. And Ulysses Davila, just a sparkling attacking pearl that we're seeing in the A-League, and he likes to score a goal, doesn't he?
Well, I think for the Wellington Phoenix fans, it was a classic example of the old phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Very good. That's very good. Very good.
The absence of the Wellington Phoenix at home games in New Zealand has maybe given the fans a taste of what it might be like if they were, as was the plan at FFA under previous administrations, kicked out of the competition. But what they've provided to the league this season in both on-pitch entertainment, the raucous reception when they arrived home, and just the attitude and the sacrifices that all those players have made.
And they played some wonderful football.
They more than deserve their place in this league. And Ulysses Davila, the player that they brought to this country under the guise of him being an ex-Chelsea player, which I thought was an amusing claim at the time from GM David Dome.
Mexican, you know?
Yeah, well, he's played a lot of clubs around the world. He's had a journeyman career, and now he's finally found a home in the A-League. He'll be playing for MacArthur next season, which is a huge coup.
As will Craig Noon.
Yes. And
so there's some interesting movements going on. We'll talk to Ben Garuccio about that. But we should also explain... or we should also acknowledge the W League. And you said absence makes the heart grow fonder. Do you think that was apt for Michelle Heyman, who picked up the gong for the best female player? Because she retired, didn't she?
She did indeed.
And she went, hang on, I love this game. I miss this game. And she came back. And Michelle Heyman, congratulations. Tremendous season, a record-breaking season. And it's just wonderful that this game, you can't let it go. In fact, you can't let it go either because you've had the most raucous last couple of weeks getting up early watching the Euros. How's your sleep pattern?
It's not good, George. I got a call from my Preston Lions Den co-host, David Svetkovsky, the other day. He was surprised when I answered. It was 11 a.m. He said, I'm always nervous calling you in the morning. Post-Euros nap that you usually embark on if I can get a chance.
The one guy I know where he's been all through the Euros is David Davutovic.
Yep.
Because he's featured. He's been the go-to guy at all the multicultural community events. If it was Hungarians, he was there. If it was Croatian, he was definitely there. If it was Serbian, he was there. I mean,
the Scots.
The Scots.
The Scots were great.
I'm fascinated. Did I miss it? I thought they might have got Davutovic in a kilt. Would that not have been something to see?
I don't know if we got that on camera, but maybe later in the evening.
That would be spectacular.
We got a bit of Davutovic dancing.
But quite seriously, that contribution by David has been almost a flashback to the great early days of SBS when we would do the World Cup. And it was Les Murray, it was Andrew Pascalides, and they'd be at some cafe in Nantes, or they'd be in some downtown pizza shop in Buenos Aires, or whatever, in Mexico. And sure enough, there'd be a vignette that would roll that would give us a bit of background, and it was a lovely way to learn a little bit about the country, the region, and the game, and how each and every country embraces the game. I mean, we do call it the world game, and it is a game that, as I'm reminded, 4 billion people belong to this one tribe, and it's called the world game. And it continues to grow. It continues to win new fans. We're going to talk about the Euros because the Euros have had some serious ups, and we've had some serious downs. Young Peter Galassi, the Hungarian goalkeeper who has promised to be almost at times unbeatable, showed Germany that there was a way back. All they had to do was make one cross, and he went for it, and he missed it by the proverbial, I suppose, that much. Mm-hmm. And that was just enough to give Germany a sniff. That was their opening goal, and from that moment on, they were always going to be a contender to possibly stay in the tournament. And guess what? Not only have they stayed in the tournament, but guess who they're playing for their reward? Go on, tell the world.
It's a throwback to 1966.
I've had people reach out to me on Facebook, on Twitter and whatever, and they're saying, hey, I know the score. It'll go to penalties, and guess who wins?
I mean, you can see it coming.
What are you thinking?
Look, I think England have all the weapons to beat this Germany side.
But have they got the resolve, the deep down belief? I think they've got. I agree with you.
Germany
the talent is there. There's no doubt about that. Do they have the resolve?
The way Germany are playing, they might not need it. Germany are an extremely inconsistent side, capable of great things, but it's always upon a bed of fragility. It's built on sand, I think, this Germany side, and sometimes they can get away with it, but more often than not, there is space to be exploited behind the wing backs, in between the centre backs. Mats Hummels has looked exposed on occasion, even though his quality is obvious off set pieces, on the ball as a leader. There was a reason why they dumped him out of the national team before he was recalled. is because trying to play a high line with Mats Hummels in the back line is perhaps less than advisable. And England have just a raft of attacking players. All their best players are wingers, England, lots of whom like to get in behind. And Raheem Sterling, I think, is going to have a field day. I can see England winning this one. The way Gareth Southgate has been playing has attracted a lot of criticism, not least from myself. But I think they will improve as the tournament goes on because having that bedrock of 2 defensive midfielders, the fullbacks sort of stay at home. Basically, 6 players defend and 4 players attack. And while it might not be easy on the eye, against an opponent who loves to have the ball and loves to take risks in Germany, it might just be the perfect tactical setup. I think the matchup favours England.
Have you listened to the words coming out of every press conference and spoken by an English player or their coach?
What's this?
We kept a clean sheet.
Yep, that's the messaging, isn't it?
We kept a clean sheet.
Didn't concede a goal.
You can't lose games if you keep a clean sheet. That's what I've heard. I haven't heard if we score 5, we'll win, or if we score 3, we'll win. So that's my only worry. I think Germany, yes, you're right. We don't know quite seriously which Germany's side. It's not quite Jekyll and Hyde, but they are capable of coming up and playing some wonderful football. Which one will turn up at Wembley? And Germany and England, Wembley, is a history. Yeah. And I'm old enough to remember 1966, and it took a Russian linesman to create a bit of history there too. So they're interesting times. What did you make of France in their classic clash against a Portugal side that at times looked bereft of real attacking skill, and then looked like a swashbuckling rapier attacking unit. And the luckiest guy in the whole game was Bruno Fernandes, who gave away a penalty, but it wasn't acknowledged. Did you see that?
No, I didn't catch
right
that
at the very end.
I
if you go back and
double screening, I had Germany on the big screen. So
well, if you go back in the last few minutes, there's a penalty call. The referee has decided no, and if you go back, you can see he's putting his foot on the back of the hamstring of the player, and I'm thinking, they deemed it fair enough to be a draw.
Is there any player who lives a more charmed life with referees than Bruno Fernandes?
No, and what Bruno also does, if anybody gets anywhere near his body, and if they swing a finger or miss kick around him, and it might miss him by that much, he's going to go down. And he is a contender for the Oscar Award. The best acting performance by any football player at a major football tournament, whether it be the World Cup or the Euros.
I thought he might be disincentivised from that because he doesn't get to take the penalties in the Portuguese team.
Oh, yes. And we keep getting reminded yet again of the pecking order at football clubs and football teams. And we know well and truly that there's number 1 in Portugal is
Cristiano Ronaldo. And he has equalled the international goal-scoring record of Ali Daei. So he is now the equal top goal scorer in men's international football history.
That's something. That's quite something. And again, for all those lovers of Cristiano Ronaldo, more ammunition that he's up there, and in fact may well be ahead of the Argentinian who plays for Barca, Lionel Messi. Have you got any closer to deciding which one is which?
Well, I mean, Messi and Argentina are suddenly finding a spark at the Copa America, which no one's talking about because the Euros are going on. And the Copa America seems to happen every 5 minutes. Another one, a Centenario, another honorary tournament. The Brazilian players certainly didn't want to play this one, but it is going ahead. And Lionel Messi has finally found a partner in crime that he can combine with, which is 32-year-old Alejandro Papu Gomez from Atalanta, who has delighted Serie A fans with his carefree, ostentatious, amazing flair, laden style of play. And Lionel Messi seems to connect with him.
You mentioned Atalanta. They have a young German boy that's made a contribution in the Euros, young Gosens.
Yeah, and that guy has gone about it the hard way. He was turned down by all the professional clubs and academies, had to come up through the lower divisions, He signed in Holland and didn't play for 2 years. So the German fans have taken to him because he speaks like one of them. He's very much a working class player who's had to adapt and learn on the job because he didn't have the benefit of all the drilling of the academy players. But I think that gives him a little bit of a point of difference. The way he strikes the ball is actually quite unorthodox. It doesn't look like he was taught that by any coach. He just came up with a way that worked for him and his biomechanics, and he's one of the greatest crosses in the game at the moment.
When you mention a unique style that's not quite well trained or conditioned, you remind me of all those people who play golf, or tennis players who have a unique style. And mind you, they all have coaches, and they still have a unique grip, or they take the club outside and it shouldn't be. It defies all logic and all manner of proper form, but the ball flies off beautifully when it's struck or hit or kicked. And so
the end
for
result
me,
that counts.
It's the end result. And I saw a piece that came up only recently, Gary Lineker, famous English footballer, who has turned into a terrific television performer in Britain, one of the leading lights there. And he spoke quite recently on a beautiful piece he did on the demise, or the passing rather, of Diego Maradona. And he again reminded everyone of, remember, the pitches weren't as they are today.
Yep.
The balls were very different. The defences were equally rougher, tougher, and more brutal. And the refereeing was kind of, play on. And yet he did what he did. And he still thinks that what we saw, the best of what we saw from Diego, was the best we've seen in the game.
I have to agree, to be honest. After seeing that Maradona documentary, the close-up footage of the pitches and the tackles
blows your mind.
It really is like nothing we've ever seen.
Did you see him live at any stage, or was it in the later years of his career?
No, that era passed me by. I was born in 94, so I was born when he was getting tossed out of international football. So.
Yeah, okay. It is, and it's not. It's too easy to say you should have seen him live, but that opportunity, that particular documentary, does an enormous justice, and to hear Lineker again remind his fellow pundits, people who were there and did see it, but again weren't in Mexico, didn't have to try and tackle him when he took on. He said, forget the hand of God. I love that. He said, forget it. It's neither here nor there. The second goal, we couldn't get near him. And more importantly, he said the shifting sands and the ground was all over the place. And yet, how did he do what he did? He stepped his way through a minefield and beat the entire English team to score that worldly goal that still people marvel at.
I actually recently watched extended highlights of Maradona in that game. There's about a 10-minute video on YouTube of just him taking the ball and dribbling past people. And you can actually tell that goal from the halfway line where he beats the entire team, the goal of the century, it was coming the entire match. It wasn't just a one-off bit of brilliance. He was taking players on left, right and centre. But there was another good article that came out, I think it was in The Athletic, which was arguing that, in fact, the semi-final performance against Belgium was the best individual performance of an international player ever, and gave some pretty compelling reasons as to why. And there's the famous photo, which I think focal lengths have done it a great justice when the players weren't actually that close together, but Maradona's taking the ball on his left foot and there's 5 Belgians all assembled, standing behind one another in a state of panic, waiting for him to approach. So.
No, that description, that state of panic that you mentioned, that's exactly the look in their eyes was. It was like their eyes were bulging and they're going, oh, please.
The fight or flight response is activated.
Where are you going with this? Where are we going with this? We're going to talk the A-League Grand Final shortly. We've been talking about the Euros and the impact of some of the stars that have been making quite some headlines over the last week or two. This is FNR, State of Our Football Nation. A couple of very special guests. One is Glenville. We'll tell you more about him. The other is Ben Garuccio from Melbourne City. They're still to join us between now and 6 o'clock. State of Our Football Nation, George Danikian along with Josh Parrish. We'll take this message and come straight back.
Are you looking to raise money for your community club or charitable organisation? Club Fundraising is an Australian family-run business, and we pride ourselves in creating partnerships with clubs, helping build stronger communities. Our free online platform provides everything you need for a successful campaign. With a step-by-step interface and best-in-class payment options, Club Fundraising makes it easy for clubs and contributors alike. Revolutionise the way you fundraise. Start your free campaign today. Head to clubfundraising.com.au. That's clubfundraising.com.au.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the power of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co., Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals, focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lineker Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lineker Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
With the right qualification, there's no telling where your career could take you.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moon might be a bit of a stretch, but whether you are looking to progress your existing career, start a new one, rejoin the workforce, or get better at a hobby, training.com.au is here to help. At training.com.au, you can answer a couple of simple questions and instantly find out what courses are available for you. It costs nothing, and it could change your life.
The eagle has landed.
Find your future right now at training.com.au.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. George Denikian, along with Josh Parrish, we're talking about the World Game. State of Our Football Nation. We'll talk about the A-League Grand Final coming up on Sunday. We've mentioned that Milos Ninkovic and Ulysses Davila were the joint winners of the Johnny Warren, which is a tremendous award for two outstanding talents. We also mentioned that Michelle Heyman won the Julie Dolan medal. We should also acknowledge a couple of youngsters, Kyra Cooney-Cross, who we saw when she first burst on the scene as 14 and a half, 15?
Yeah.
How old was she?
I think she was 15.
Well, she's just been remarkable, and I can see her stepping up into the Matildas when the time comes. And, of course, we should also acknowledge the young Joel King, who's Sydney FC's young player of the year. And
displaced Michael Zullo from the 11, which is no mean feat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, listen, a bit of gossip before we go any further. Before we go to our special guests and talk seriously about the A-League Grand Final, which has got the referee of the year, by the way, looking after things.
Chris Beath?
Yeah, Chris Beath. Do you want to know the full run-up?
Go on.
Yep. The referees have got Chris Beath as the man with the whistle. We've got Matthew Cream and Nathan McDonald, and Daniel Elder as the fourth official. But these days, of course, the man that gets a lot of monitoring and a lot of acknowledgements is the man with the VAR, the video assistant referee. And he's got a triple banger name, Chris Griffiths-Jones. Let's hope we don't hear about Chris at all in the grand final. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I mean, finals have been decided on less, and the last two grand finals have had major VAR decisions in them. Sydney FC's offside, or was it offside, goal against Perth, and the goal ruled out for Melbourne City in last year's decider.
And if we go earlier, wasn't there an infamous non-goal or goal
the problem was
scored
there
by
that
Victory?
VAR wasn't involved on that occasion.
No, it
Someone
had a glitch.
unplugged it.
Yeah, absolutely. The bit of goss, though, that's been really hot and it's bubbling around, I don't know how much value in it. We were told only a couple of weeks ago that if Ange Postecoglou was to get the gig at Celtic, there was a big chance that a guy called Kevin Muscat, who's had a long relationship with Ange over the years, they both played at South Melbourne, of course, was going to go as his assistant. But the latest headline suggests what, Joshua?
Then, in fact, as happened at Melbourne Victory all those years ago, Kevin Muscat will replace Ange as Yokohama F. Marinos head coach. And I would put a lot of stock in this because it's written by Scott McIntyre, who knows Japanese football like few English-speaking people do. He's written it for the Asian game. And if Scott writes it, I believe it. He wouldn't lead with this stuff if it wasn't concrete. So This is happening, George.
Wow, that's a big story. And, you know, it also, again, further validates the quality of Australian referees. Ange breaking new ground by, as you say, reaching out and coaching Celtic, which is going to be tremendous, or not coaching, managing Celtic. And if Kevin picks this up, then you've got another Australian coach in a privileged league, looking to replicate what Ange did a couple of years ago, and that is pretty exciting.
That is extremely exciting. I think it's a big job for Kevin Muscat to take on, but he has successfully built upon Ange's foundations in the past. Of course, Victory's title-winning team in 2015 was built on the foundation and the passing out from the back that Ange taught them. So I do think there's a good chance of success, but it is a major step up. And as some of the Australian-based Yokohama followers were commenting, Ange's football has actually moved along quite a bit since he was managing in Australia. He's developed, he's taken it to brave and strange new places with the way he's using his fullbacks and just the incredibly aggressive style they use, which I'm not sure if Muscat has ever really embraced.
Even Pep Guardiola, when Yokohama played Melbourne City in a couple of pre-season games that they've arranged because they're part of the City Football Group, Pep went up and complimented Ange on what he was doing and how the boys were playing. And that's huge kudos, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that one gets wheeled out quite a few times, but Yokohama played really well in that game. I've watched the highlights. They really could have won, and it was a friendly, but it meant a lot to Ange. It really did. So...
So interesting times.
Absolutely.
So there's the word from some people who think they know what's going on. The word is that Kevin Muscat could well be the man to take over the reins at Yokohama Marinos in the J-League. All right, time for us to talk A-League Grand Final, and you've got a guest star that you want to reach out to and talk to.
Absolutely.
You should do the introductions.
Well, we've got Sydney FC's star striker who's returned from India to guide them to the grand final, Adam Fondre. Welcome back to FNR.
Hi, okay, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Glenville, when did you give up? When did you give up Glenville and go with Adam?
I was probably about 6 years old in primary school. I didn't like it when we did the register and they said that name. I've always sort of been known as Adam, and obviously birth certificate and documentation like that always says Glenville. So, I soon put a stop at that in primary school.
Adam, welcome back. It's been great to see you return to the A-League, and like a fantastic quality watch, you're back in that thing called scoring mode. The first time you and I spoke, I remarked that one of the things I've enjoyed very much is I love watching predators. I love watching people who have a real sniff and love the game and also skirt in the right places, in the shadows, looking for the opportunity. And you've done it almost religiously from the minute you arrived in this country. And you've been an ornament. You've been terrific to watch, and we wish you all the best on the weekend. Not too much success, but we wish you all the best.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely just the way I play. I've sort of moulded myself into that player who takes, half chances and I've sort of worked on that side of the game a lot, and, it's bared a lot of fruition for me throughout my career, not just in Australia.
Has Bobo understood all your special signals?
There's not really too many special signals. He's probably understood part of my broken northern accent and the broken English I do say when I'm not ranting and raving and swearing and the likes of that, and trying to G up everyone and G myself up. We've got a really good partnership, and I think anyone can see from the outset. They probably looked at it and thought two, goal scorers who were probably single-minded at scoring goals. How will it work together? And it's worked together really well. We've worked off, each other really well and bounced off each other, which is what happens in all great partnerships. And it's really helped us propel in the last part of the season and going into the finals. We're in great form.
Adam, it's kind of like one of those 70s rock supergroups, you two linking up. You two leading goal scorers from seasons past for Sydney finally getting a chance to team up together. What are the different and contrasting parts of your games that you think enables you to coexist up front?
Mm.
Well, obviously I'm a midget and he's a bit taller than me.
So the odd couple.
Yeah, so it's a bit more stereotypical of the British forward line of where you have a big man, little man, and obviously you work that way. I think not too dissimilar is that we're both very comfortable on the ball. We're both willing to run in behind, and we both work really hard as well, which is a key part of being part of this team. Is the front two get through a lot of work. Not to say everyone else doesn't get through a lot of work, but obviously the pressing starts from the front, and Bobo's a willing worker just like me, and I think that's what really helps us as a team and. Meet us as a partnership. It gets us on the front foot, and if you maybe not having a good game, you can still do the defensive side of the job. Perfect.
Adam Fondre is our special guest on State of Our Football Nation on FNR. George Danikin along with Josh Parrish. Adam, welcome back. We've been thrilled at the bits that you got out of India when the getting was good and you came back because you've given Sydney a critical boost, and I think may well be the advantage on Sunday, because we're talking about two serious goal-getters who do love to score goals. What's Stevie Corica like? He's done a tremendous job since stepping up and becoming the main man in Sydney.
Yeah, he's done a magnificent job. I think probably he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think the success we've had, since, obviously Bimby's been the coach, coincided obviously with me coming over here. I think the success we've had as a team and a group has been unbelievable. I think, when he got handed the reins, Graham Arnold did a magnificent job, and they had unrelented success there, and he's built on that and gone further. With the potential of winning the three-peat, obviously a first and 2 second places in the Premiership as well. It's kind of unheard of, and maybe he doesn't get the credit he deserves as a coach. And I can only speak highly enough of him as a magnificent coach for me and obviously the boys, because we've been really successful.
Adam, what was your time like over in India at Mumbai City? And was the plan always to come back and lead Sydney at the business end of the season?
No, not particularly. It wasn't. I didn't really think when I left Australia. I thought, potentially that could be it. I'll go back to England after India, or stay in India after that and see what happens. But for me, it was very enjoyable in India. Obviously, winning makes everything more enjoyable. But I was with obviously CFG there, and it was a magnificent setup. They did everything they could to make it, as stress-free as possible, which is, what all you can ask for as a footballer. They helped out as much as they can with the restrictions, and obviously the playing side of it took care of itself. We were a very talented team, and we did what we set out to do, which was win the championship. And when it became apparent, a bit more so apparent for me, which was probably the turn of the year that I would be most likely coming back to Australia, it was quite a straightforward conversation, really. Obviously, I watched all the games, near enough all the games in the A-League, not just the Sydney games. I watched nearly every game because they were right in the middle of the day in India, and it was always, sort of easy watching in my room. And, I was sort of anticipating coming back to the league and scoring goals because of, the way the league was this season has been so open, and, everything's been so free-flowing and almost cavalier. I think my first 2 seasons, it wasn't quite like that. I don't think we had a plethora of chances, of the high-scoring games or anything like that. And, I've watched this season and seen, there's been a shed load of chances for everybody. And, that sort of thing, I've sort of come back in and thought, I can get some goals here and chase down Broski as the all-time leading goal scorer. That's something I'm aiming for.
See, you can always tell a gold sneaker or predator because they're always chasing records. Yeah? And he's got Broski right where he wants him, in his sights. I love that. What did you make of the English Premier League? The Indian Premier League?
Yeah, it was good. I think it was very enjoyable. The standard is obviously a bit off from the Australian League, but I think that with their players there, I think some of it's a little bit of naivety in the way they play, and they try to play the right way, but sometimes they make rash decisions, which can swing a game, and obviously they make more of the bad decisions than the good decisions sometimes. But I think there's a lot of investment going in there from all different types of clubs. Obviously, like I say, CFG are over there, and I suspect in the next probably 5 or 10 years that Indian football will be, ascending really highly, because if they get the academy structure right and the coaching there right, then there's a real want for the game there and a real love for the game there. And, I can only speak of, some good things that will come out of India eventually, for sure.
So you've gone off to India to play for CFG. Now you're facing them in the grand final, trying to prevent them from winning their first title in Australia.
What's going on, Adam? What's going on?
How ironic. How ironic. I leave CFG and could potentially stop them winning the GF. If they could write a fairy tale for me, then yeah, obviously I would like that. Obviously, there's a lot to go before that happens.
Well, let's talk about the game then. Your opponents have been outstanding all season, robbed of a few players thanks to international duty, so it might be a little different from the previous meetings between these two teams.
Yeah, of course. They've been absolutely magnificent this season, and they sort of romped the league a little bit, and obviously it's disappointing that me and Bobby sort of came halfway through the season. It could have been a proper shootout with them. If me and Bobby were here for the start of the season, and it probably could have been a proper 2-horse race for the title. Obviously they're hamstrung with players away, but so are we. We're missing 3 of the back 5 who've been the most successful backline in the league. So if you take out Ryan, Grant, Gowser, and obviously Redder's in there, then we're missing big players too. It's not just them who are hit by it. Obviously, McLaren's 25 goals are a massive hit. Anyone who takes out 25 goals out of a team is obviously a big hit, and you can't kid anyone about that. But obviously they have a squad for a reason, and obviously they have good players underneath that, which they're going to have to show up in the big game as well.
Adam, the one thing that you guys have never, ever doubted or never lacked is the ability to drive at an opponent, whether you're playing at home or playing away. You've played at Amy Park. There are no fears there for you?
No, definitely not. I think Amy Park's one of my best grounds I've been to.
Unfortunately, I remember.
Yeah, I think I've scored majority of times I've been there, and I think we as a club we've got a really good record there, especially in my time.
Talk it up, go on, talk it up.
No, I don't want it. We would rather stay unassuming and be the underdog for once. I think we're going to the team that won the Premiership, so we'll be the underdog going there, I guess. So we're looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, it's a great pitch, hopefully it's going to be a great atmosphere with their fans, and they thoroughly deserve to have it staged in Melbourne as well. So I applaud the league for doing that and getting it to Melbourne, because if you win the league, you deserve to have it at your home stadium, and give them that spectacle and that opportunity to maybe win it in front of their fans. But hopefully we win it in front of their fans and they can give us a rouse and applause as well.
My co-host George here is a regular attendee at City Games, if you can't tell. But
you'll see me on Sunday. Don't worry, Adam.
Yeah. Oh, okay, brilliant.
So what was the experience like of being whisked away to get here in time? There was a lot of umming and ahhing over the plans, over where it was going to be played, over which weekend it was going to be played on. How'd you get down to Melbourne? And you applauded the league there for figuring it all out. But what was the experience like for the players?
Yeah, I think, for some of the boys, it was a little bit more hectic than me. Obviously, I'm at the moment on my own. My wife and children are in England anyway, so I was staying in North Ryde, and we got a text yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday at about 11 o'clock saying, "Look, this isn't a drill. These 19 players are flying. Yeah, you're flying at 5 o'clock. So, you get at the airport for 5 o'clock. You're flying at 6 to Melbourne.
Wow.
So it's pretty much that really. Get your stuff together and let's go.
Look, it promises to be a super exciting grand final between the two top performing sides of the year, Sydney FC and Melbourne City, the minor premiers. And there are some tremendous contests, I'm sure. But I can't let you go unless you give us your view of what promises to be an even more exciting game for those at the Euros. England, Germany. Have you got a pick?
Yeah, England, obviously. Do I need to? I don't really need to say that, do I? It's always England. Support England all the way, but especially with Alex Dormier on here, England for sure. Hopefully we'll rub it in his face as well.
Well, let us know if you have any tips for Harry Kane at the moment. He seems to be having a bit of a dry spell.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, I don't think it's his fault,
no,
if I'm honest, but that's just football for you, I guess. You go through them spells and the English media like to pile on as well.
Of course. But you also know that unless you get the service, you're only as good as the service that you're getting.
Exactly.
And then you've got to take the opportunities.
Definitely.
Adam, you've done that all your life. We love having you back in Australia. You certainly add to the A-League, and you have done a tremendous job at Sydney. One game to go. All the very best.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Hopefully we get the three-peat. Thank you.
Good on you. Adam Fondre, being a striker, he's always going to leave you with the last word, isn't he? Hey? Yeah, I'm just looking 100%. For the three-peat.
No, I love his character as well as his ability. He's obviously such a good influence on that team because he's a kind of cajoling force that really helps him out.
But I love the fact that, he talks about the giant, Bobo, and he's the little guy, and he knows how to get in there and do what he has to do. We're going to take a break. Our next guest is the man from Melbourne City.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals, focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lineker Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lineker Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the power of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
Are you looking to raise money for your community club or charitable organisation? Club Fundraising is an Australian family-run business, and we pride ourselves in creating partnerships with clubs, helping build stronger communities. Our free online platform provides everything you need for a successful campaign. With a step-by-step interface and best-in-class payment options, Club Fundraising makes it easy for clubs and contributors alike. Revolutionise the way you fundraise. Start your free campaign today. Head to clubfundraising.com.au. That's clubfundraising.com.au.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. George and Josh talking the World Game, State of Our Football Nation, and a special guest because we've got a grand final at Amy Park on Sunday, 5 minutes past 5. on Channel 505 on Fox Sports. It's the A-League Grand Final. Melbourne City up against Sydney FC. We just spoke to Adam Fondre. Time for us now to speak to a defender who knows how to, corral attacking players. His name is Ben Garuccio, and he joins us on FNR. Ben, welcome.
Thank you very much, guys.
One of my favourite players from the day he came to the club. And what's this I hear? You're about to leave us?
No, what's that? What's that you heard?
Oh, there's scuttlebutt out there. So
there always is in there at this time of year.
I only want to hear good news. How are you guys recovering from what was an awesome result last week, playing MacArthur in Sydney and watching the two youngsters, take a couple of defences apart in 2.5 minutes? What did you make of that, Ben?
Yeah, no, it was really good. Obviously, a lot went against us last week, with having to travel away for our home semi-final, so to speak. So,
yep.
I think it was credit to the group. We went away there. As soon as we found out that we had to go to Sydney, it was sort of, all right, put it behind us. Let's go get the job done. And, obviously full credit to the boys and, especially the two young boys, Collar and Tilio,
and I love
who really stepped up.
I know they did step up, and you stepped up. As soon as they scored, you were one of the first players on the pitch to reach them.
I was actually warming up. I was warming up, so they just sent me to warm up. I was meant to come on in a different position, and then we sort of scored, so I just jumped over the fence and joined in with the boys. So, no, it was good. Obviously, those are very special moments, and I'm sure those boys will remember those moments for a long time.
Everyone who belongs to the City family will never forget those moments. They're part of the folklore now, Ben.
Yeah, exactly right.
Ben, you've played a few different positions this season, both fullback roles, I think both wings as well. So, when the depth of the City squad has been tested, particularly by these international call-ups, I'm sure Paddy Kisnorbo has been glad to have you to rely upon.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, our depth has been tested, but I think that's a sentiment to, the club and the organisation for putting this squad together because, I think a lot of people, if you take maybe, three of their best players potentially, you wouldn't be able to field such a strong team. But I think arguably our team's been really strong that we've been able to field, and we've still got players that can impact and come off the bench as well. So. I think we've shown why we've been so strong all season.
Young Paddy has done okay. He was just named the Coach of the Year. What's the buzz been like at not Bundoora, but at the new City setup in Casey Fields?
Yeah, we actually had the day off today, which is just our routine. 3 days before the game, but I'm sure. That won't mean anything to PK.
He's working.
I'm sure his main focus and only focus is to get the job done this week. I know him. I'd like to say I know him pretty well, and I'm sure that will be at the front of his mind. And any personal awards will come after that.
Correct.
The culture at City has been something talked about in the wake of the lifting of the Premier's plate. What's your perspective on that as a player coming in 2020?
Yeah, for me personally, it's probably one of the best groups I've ever been a part of. I'm only new there this year. I know quite a lot of the backroom staff and things like that, but most of the players I've never played with before. But the way it's been settling into that change room has been, an absolute pleasure for me and very, very easy as well. I've loved every minute, to be honest, being a part of the boys. And you've got some exciting young players coming through, but also some senior boys, and I think everyone. It's a really tight knit group, to be honest. So no, it's been really good.
The thing that fascinates me has been watching the more experienced heads, nursing some of the young ones. Nuno got very excited, and he grabbed young Marco Tilio towards him, or was it Kolakowski, right after they'd scored, to say to them, "See what you can do." If you just keep your head, it's remarkable.
Yeah,
Nuno, what's Nuno like? Give us a sense. Portuguese, of course. He came late into the season because of injuries and a few other things. What's his journey been like at City this year?
Yeah, really good, to be honest. I think, probably in the last couple of months, we've sort of seen the real side of him. He's started to come out of his shell a bit more. Obviously, it's normal when you first come to a club, you're a little bit reserved and things like that at the start. But he's fitted in honestly seamlessly on the pitch. He's been fantastic. That goal line clearance on the weekend was unbelievable. That's probably more important than a goal. In some ways. So at that part of the game, to keep us in it, we go on from there and we end up winning 2-0 with a clean sheet. So without him, that wouldn't have happened. So he's been really good. I'm with him. I pulled Portugal in our Euro draw, so me and him are just we're raining Portugal home every day. So it's good. He's a top bloke.
How's his English?
Yeah, good, perfect, actually.
Interesting.
Better than Luna's.
Luna's is almost non-existent.
We've often tried to talk to Adrian after games in the mix zone, and it's always no English.
No English.
I secretly think he just doesn't like the interviews.
Yeah, I'm just throwing him up. He's all right. He's good.
So, in your first spell at Melbourne City, you actually saw the transition from Melbourne Heart to Melbourne City over your 4 years at the club. What was the club like back then, and how does it compare to these days with the facilities and the standard that is offered to the players?
Yeah, obviously people always say, it really is completely different and things like that. But it actually really is, to be honest. It's not an exaggeration when people say, we were doing ice baths in bins and things like that. That's really what it was like back then. And that's not to say, that the club wasn't good enough or anything like that. I think that's just where the club was at. And, obviously with Melbourne City or Manchester City, the City group coming in, it was just a phenomenal change what they were able to do with the club. And, it started with obviously the new facilities, but then after that came, the calibre of coaches, the calibre of players, everything to every last detail was thought about. And I think if you look at, the way things have been put together now, it's, full credit to the City group and everyone that they've put into this club that, now the results are really coming on the pitch and we've got a top group of people, all around the club.
You're actually very, very right on that. From your CEO, from Brad Rouse at the top, big changes there, big improvements. We've seen, of course, PK come on board and showcase his maturity from the youth, of course, to the women's team, now to the men's team, and of course this accolade now as Coach of the Year. But Michael Petrillo behind the scenes, making sure that the talent acquisition is spot on and actually fits all the little pieces that the club needs. It must give you enormous confidence because whenever you run onto the pitch, I see a great eagerness to please, whether it's the coach or the fans. I've seen a new energy in you. What has changed, Ben? Because I thought you were a good player, but you've actually got hungrier, if I can describe it that way. Is that a fair call?
Well, yeah, of course. I think, look at the way the team's going this year. And when you get the chance to play, you don't want to let those boys down or those fans down. The people that you go out and you either play in front of or play next to every week. The team's doing so well. You don't want to be the person that lets that team down. So I think that's what this sort of environment breeds, positivity. But I think, as you touched on, with Mike Petrillo, Brad, and everyone, that's what people don't see. Having good people all around the club. I think, if it starts at the top and you've got good people at the top, that feeds all the way throughout the club. And, that's where you really start to see the success. Unfortunately, for fans, a lot of the time they only see, the players and the coach that go onto the field. But I think for a successful organisation to happen and to run like this, it has to be good from the top all the way through. So I think that's where the club's really got it right this year.
Now, Ben, on staff here, one of our other presenters is Lockie Flanagan, and he's a dyed-in-the-wool Heart of Midlothian supporter. So I think I would be remiss not to ask you about your experience at Hearts and how it's changed you as a player.
Yeah, it definitely matured me a lot. My experience over there, it started off, amazing, to be honest. I went in there and had a good pre-season. We started the season really, really well, scored a goal. I was playing. I think we went 10 games in the first season undefeated, and we were top of the league. And I was thinking, far out, this is all right. This is pretty easy. Celtic aren't that good. And then reality sort of sunk in, and it was pretty challenging after that for me personally. I did my ACL while I was over there, and that was probably one of the hardest things I've gone through in my career. But that was also probably the turning point for me, where I started to really look after my body and understand what it means to be a professional. I think before that, I sort of always took that for granted, being just a young footballer that never really experienced too many injuries.
We can see it. I mean, I can, because I've watched you from the day you first came to the club, and to see you in this second stint, I can see a hunger in you, and I can see a maturity in you that really is captivating. And I wish you every success, Ben. It's been terrific to watch.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good luck on Sunday. This is, one and all. What do you make of? We got to make sure with this Scottish connection. What do you make of Ange's move to Celtic?
I think it's absolutely huge and great for Australian football and especially Australian coaches, because that's arguably the top role in Scotland, at club level anyway. There's Rangers.
Will they give him the
Gerrard,
time?
And now it's...
What will the fans? How will they treat him?
Sorry?
How will the fans treat him, Ben?
Hopefully really well. If they're getting the results on the pitch, they'll absolutely love him.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And you're going to have 15,000 of those fans in front of you.
Correct.
Ben, what does it mean for this grand final to be played at Amy Park, a home game like this team has earned, and in front of some diehard supporters?
Yeah, well, that's going to be absolutely huge for us. Obviously, having our supporters behind us the whole way through could be the difference on Sunday. So that's what the boys maybe missed last season. Obviously, they did it away from home in the lockdown and everything like that. So I'm sure for the boys that were there last season and were in that final without their fans behind them, will really feel the difference on Sunday.
Well, it promises to be an absolute memorable game for all involved. We wish you every success. Go get him, Ben Garuccio.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Pleasure. Ben Garuccio from Melbourne City. Up there, he'll be looking at Adam Fondre and saying, I got you covered. And, of course, Fondre will be going, come over here. Look, it'll be some fun. And it promises to be an exciting game and one that I hope is allowed to be, what's the word, decided on the pitch.
Yeah.
We don't want any glitches off the pitch. We don't want VAR to rear its ugly head.
Fingers crossed. We get a game decided in 90 minutes, and may the best team win.
May the best team win. Look, it's been great. Josh, thank you very much for making sure we went seamlessly to air. An opportunity to see the game and talk about this game throughout the next few days. Some great football still to come. The Euros just getting that super exciting elimination phase. And the game that you're locked into is?
England-Germany. Catch us on Monday.
Ben Garuccio and Nuno will be Portugal versus
Belgium. That's a tasty one.
Oh, man, that is super tasty.
But we better go, George, if you know your history after this short break.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR.
With the right qualification, there's no telling where your career could take you.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moon might be a bit of a stretch, but whether you are looking to progress your existing career, start a new one, rejoin the workforce, or get better at a hobby, Training.com.au is here to help. At training.com.au, you can answer a couple of simple questions and instantly find out what courses are available for you. It costs nothing, and it could change your life.
The Eagle has landed.
Find your future right now at training.com.au.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals, focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lineker Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lineker Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the power of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co, Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
Are you looking to raise money for your community club or charitable organisation? Club fundraising is an Australian family-run business, and we pride ourselves in creating partnerships with clubs, helping build stronger communities. Our free online platform provides everything you need for a successful